Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. I have been solving math problems out of this book here, GMAT Review, the official guide. If you do not have this book already, purchase one immediately. If you're preparing for GMAT, you can buy it at mba.com. The problem that I'm about to solve out of this book is the one that you will find on page number 165, problem solving, number 99. That's what PS stands for, problem solving, as opposed to data sufficiency, which I will do later. Problem solving, number 99. Let's take a look at it. Read the problem with me, otherwise it will not make any sense to you. It says, on a scale that measures the intensity of certain phenomenon, a reading of n plus 1 corresponds to an intensity that is 10 times the intensity. N plus 1 is 10 times n. Corresponds, let me start again. A reading of n plus 1 corresponds to an intensity that is 10 times the intensity corresponding to a reading of n, which is what I showed here. The question simply is, on that scale, an intensity corresponding to a reading of 8, it's how many times greater than the intensity corresponding to a reading of 3? Let's look at the answer choices. Five, 50, 10 to the 5th, 5 to the 10th, 8 to the 10th minus 3 to the 10th. I can tell you how I would solve this problem if I were taking the real exam right now. And then if you like, I can actually show you the proper work that lies behind it if you want to solve it in a proper way. But the quick and dirty way that I would do in the real exam if I were taking it right now is to realize that what we're talking about here is this, it's a meter. It's a meter, it measures something. They don't tell you what it is. And you don't need to know that, but just to satisfy your curiosity, it's actually an earthquake meter. But don't worry about it. They call it I believe it's called it starts with R something, Richard's scale or something like that. But what it is each time the reading goes up by 1, that means that it is 10 times more powerful than what it was before. So if it's a 0, well, actually, I started solving it properly already, so I'm going to show you the proper way of solving it. A reading of 0, let's say, if it shows 1, if it shows 0, that's equal to intensity of 1. When the reading goes from 0 to 1, now it's 10 times this amount. 10 times this amount means it becomes, of course, 10. When it's reading of 2, a reading of 2 is actually 10 times this amount. So it's 10 times this amount, 10 times 10, of course, is 100. A reading of 3, if it shows on the scale, on a Richard's scale, I believe, I'm not pronouncing the guy's name properly. I should have looked up his name before I started solving the problem, but it's too late now. A reading of 3 on that scale means this thing, that earthquake, is 10 times more powerful than a reading of 2. A 10 times more powerful, of course, is 1000, and so on and so forth. What you should realize here is that we're talking about something raised to 10. It's a multiple of 10 is what I'm trying to tell you. The scale is such that it is a multiple of 10. This is right here. N plus 1 is 10 times n. So if they're talking about a reading of 3 as opposed to a reading of 8, it's a multiple of 10. How many answer choices do you see here which show you multiples of 10? This is not it. It's just 5. This has to do with 50. This is the only thing that has to do with 10 raised to some power. That's it. That's the answer. This is not it. We're talking about 10 raised to some power. For example, here, a reading of 3 is 10 raised to 3. A reading of 2 is 10 raised to 2. A reading of 1, of course, is just 10 raised to 1. A reading of 0 is just 10 raised to 0. And if you didn't know this thing, I'm going to make a note here somewhere. We don't need any of this here. Well, I need the room here someplace. I'm going to write down here. If you didn't know this part, 0 corresponds to 1, which is because 10 raised to 0 equals 1, I'm going to make a note here. Any number raised to 0 equals 1. Any number. So any number n raised to a 0 equals 1. Hence, 10 raised to 0 is 1, as you can see here. And then when we go from 0 to 1, it's 10 times more powerful than the previous guy. It's not 10 times 0, of course. 10 times 0 would have been 0. But 0 represents 10 raised to 0. It's a scale of 10. And therefore, when we go from 0 to 1, it's 10 times more powerful than the previous guy. Previous guy was 1 because it was 10 raised to 0. And then when we go to 2, it's 10 times more powerful than the previous one, and so on and so forth. So we're talking about 8, which is going to be 10 raised to 8. 10 raised to 8, it will have, obviously, 8 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 8 zeros right there. But that's what it is. So the answer is, how many times is this guy more powerful than this guy? Well, this 10 raised to 8 divided by 10 raised to 3, of course it should give you 10 raised to 5, because you're going to subtract the exponents. But if you do it this way, you're making it far too complicated. Let me show you the quicker and easier way. If you do not want to buy this part, which is that I did not do anything at all, you just have to realize that it has to do with multiples of 10. The only answer choice here, by multiples of 10s, I don't mean 50. 50 is, of course, the multiple term, but that's not what I meant. What I meant by is exponents of 10. 10 raised to some exponents, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth. The only answer choice that I see here, which has a 10 raised to an exponent, is this one right here. That's what I meant by multiple of 10. I misspoke. I don't mean in that sense. It has to do with 10 multiples of 10. 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, so on and so forth. Let me show you a quicker way. I'm going to erase all of this thing. Let me show you. Maybe I should do it up here. I don't want to erase anything here. Let me do it up here. Here's another way you can look at it. We're starting from 10. Let me change the marker. We're starting from 3 and going all the way to 8. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So if this guy, say for example, if 3 represents a 1, if 3 means 1, then by the time you get to 4, it's going to be 10 times more than this guy. So that means 4 represents 10. And when we go to 5, 5 has to be 100 times more than this guy. And 6 has to be 1,000 times more than this guy. And you just keep sticking 0. So what is it? It's 1 with 5 zeros. So it's simply 10 raised to 5. That's what it is. That's what you have here. And that's what you're looking for. I hope I did a decent job of explaining this problem. Sometimes if there is something simple and you try to explain it too much, it doesn't work out. But I hope I did a halfway decent job of explaining this thing, and I hope you understood it. Listen, if you wish to buy a DVD, excuse me, I didn't mean to say a DVD. If you wish to buy DVDs that contain the solutions to all the math problem in this book, or if you wish to hire me for your personal private tutoring, send me an email. Go to my website at www.prep for GMAT.com. Send me an email and we'll talk. Alright? Thank you.